Okay, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, but let's get right to it. So the wife and I finally got around to seeing Gemini Man. It was on Amazon Prime, so we checked it out. It stars Will Smith. This movie came out in 2019. You know, it had a $138 million budget, but it only did $173 million worldwide. So it was considered kind of a flop, which is disappointing. The rule of thumb in the film industry is you got to double your budget to make your money back and break even. So it needed to make $280 million to break even, and it just didn't even come close. This movie was directed by Ang Lee, which he's done great work in the past. This movie was a little weird. Compared to some of the stuff that he's done, whether it be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Life of Pi. Like I said, you know, obviously from the movie poster and everything, Will Smith is in this. He plays an assassin that's like gone on one last mission and he's ready to retire. And of course, the person he takes out is somebody that, you know, pushes the entire plot forward. It's like, this guy knew somebody who did something, who had something to do with this and that, and they had to take out Will Smith because, you know, they can't let assassins retire. I mean, how many movies have we seen where assassins just, they want to retire and get out of the business, and then, you know, the evildoers that put them to work for all these years decide to come after them. That's basically the plot of this film. But it had some, you know, script issues. The script was floating around Hollywood for quite a while until they could finally, you know, green light it. And I think it was all because they needed to get to a place where the technology, you were able to do it. So in this film, unlike other movies like Terminator Dark Fate, where they had an actor, bodybuilder stand in for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they CGI'd Arnold's face on top from the neck up, in the scene where he killed John Connor. They actually recreated a fully CGI Will Smith, who is a clone of the main character, who's in his 50s. This guy's like 23, 24 years old version of Will Smith that has been sent, who, you know, he was cloned and sent to take out, because the only way you could take out the best assassin in the world is to create another one of that assassin. That's what the evildoers in this movie have done. The bad guy in the film is Clive Owen. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in the film as well. I actually didn't recognize her at first because she's really like skinny and ripped. And the last real memory I had of her that popped into my head when we were watching the movie was Live Free or Die Hard, when she had a little bit more of baby weight on her, you know. She was more filled out. Benedict Wong is in this film. You know, and I've liked him from Doctor Strange and Infinity Wars and Endgame. Great sidekick in the film, as you would. And then Ralph Brown was in this film. And I kept looking at him the whole time going, how do I know this guy? I was like, I just couldn't put my finger on it. And then finally it hit me. I think he was in the Phantom Menace. He was driving Padme Amidala's ship that left Naboo after, you know, the Federation, the control ship, like, and they did the blockade for the trade route. He was the pilot of the ship. When little Anakin was like, oh, and this is how this works. Like, oh, you're a smart little kid. You're going to be a good pilot someday. I think that was him. So anyway, I didn't recognize him, but finally picked up on it through the film. The big draw to this movie is the Weta digital effects that cloned Will Smith for the 23, 24-year-old version of himself. I will say it wasn't perfect. And not that these things are ever going to totally be perfect, but when you look at movies like Life of Pi, and when you look at what they did with what ILM did with Terminator Dark Fate, recreating Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the Linda Hamilton version that they did of Linda Hamilton was pretty spot on. Weta always did really good work in the past, and even movies that are dated, like the Lord of the Rings films with Gollum and stuff, seem to hold up better than the effects that were in this movie, which was really odd. Some shots looked so real, it was crazy, and then other shots just looked like gameplay on an Xbox. There was a motorcycle chase scene in the film that obviously looked like it was almost all done in a computer vacuum. And then when when I did a little bit of research, I found out that yes, like almost all the effects were done digitally for some of the stuff that they shot with the motorcycle chase scene. And then again, like, Will Smith's doing action moves and stuff and fighting his younger self. And obviously he probably fought a stunt double and they CGI'd, Will Smith's face. There was just, they tried to hide a lot of it in lighting. There was this big fight in the catacombs and in the film, you'll see that scene, and everything was in shadow. So when they moved, like you wouldn't see it. It would be quick here. It would be quick there. And I mean, it was okay. Overall, I think the film was fine. I don't, they talked about it was groundbreaking effects, but I didn't really see it. I saw some really good stuff, but I didn't see it really convince me in certain scenes. And towards the end of the film, spoiler alert again, there's a scene where Will Smith meets his younger self at college, because that they've all decided not to be assassins at the end of the film, and the younger Will Smith wants to have a life, so he wants to go to college. And almost every single shot in that film, in that sequence, the Will Smith character, the younger Will Smith character, looked horrible. I mean, it was like, I would have cut the scene. I mean, I wouldn't have even put it in there. And then there was this one scene in the film with where Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Will Smith go on a first date. And it looks like what happened is they got the coverage of the medium shots kind of over the shoulder back and forth in the conversation at the dinner table. But for whatever reason, they either didn't like, or they were fighting the sun that day on the shoot. Sun, losing light is what happens. And you can flood it with 18Ks and do things to kind of keep the light. But at some point you just lose the light altogether and you get to that magic hour where you just can't keep shooting. And it looks like they shot the master shot of them in a soundstage and in front of green screen. And you could really see the bad, like, matte lines around Will Smith and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And in all, you didn't need the master shot. It only punched in twice during the sequence because most of it was over the shoulders. And you did see the walk up where Will Smith had flowers in his hands and he walked up and then he sat at the table. And I just don't think they needed to pop back out to put that shot in there. You could have just done the over the shoulders and had the whole conversation wrapped up. But those two shots just pulled me out of it. I was like, what? Like, how did that get in there? It looks so bad. And again, it goes back to, they had a $138 million budget, and it just seems like Weta would have delivered much better shots in this film than they did. And a lot of the action sequences and the fight sequences were very much CGI stunt doubles throughout, which, again, there's a sense of realism that's lost when that happens. Some of the characters actually look rubbery on screen, almost like in Avengers Endgame or Black Panther, the final battle between Killmonger and Black Panther. When they were fighting each other, it was just clear that almost 95% of all of it was CGI, and they just look like rubber characters. And to me, like, it didn't have that John Wick, like, real, you could tell like these people were really fighting each other in a lot of these scenes. So, maybe that kind of word of mouth really hurt the film. But in general, as just a popcorn entertainment movie, this film succeeds in being just that. So, I mean, if you like mindless action films and you don't care too much about story, this movie's not bad. And I think you should check it out. Right now, if you've got Amazon Prime, it's streaming for free for you. So check out Gemini Man and let's talk about it in the comment section. What did you think were the pros and cons of the film? And we'll see you on the next one.